Good morning, everyone. Both presidential candidates are home now, waiting for voters to make their decision. President Reagan's voting today near his Santa Barbara ranch in California. Walter Mondale is casting his ballot in North Oaks, Minnesota. A final ABC News Washington Post poll shows President Reagan holding fast to that 54-40 lead, the same margin as yesterday's poll. As Mike Von Fremd reports, the president wound up his campaign yesterday where his political career started.
The First Lady celebrated the end of the campaign by bowling in orange down the aisle of Air Force One. Today, the first family votes, watches election returns with friends, and after the polls close in California, hopes to declare victory. As he campaigned yesterday, the president's pollsters gave him some encouraging numbers. They told him that even by conservative estimates, his victory margin should be at least 10 points, and he should easily win 46 states. But publicly, the president continued to be cautious.
I want to say, I'm terrified by the polls. Please don't read them anymore. Don't get complacent. Tomorrow.
But by the end of the day, when he arrived in San Diego for the very last rally of the campaign, the president sounded a bit more optimistic.
It's great to be in San Diego, my good luck city.
The reason why the president said that is because he closed out his 1980 campaign at the exact same spot and celebrated the election results at this very hotel, where construction for a victory bash tonight is still now underway. But Ronald Reagan candidly admits he is superstitious, so that's why he's ending his 1984 campaign in the exact same fashion as 1980, hoping for the same results. Steve?
Mike, what about the coattail effect? Is the president going to be able to bring along the Congress?
Well, Steve, in the House, they are counting on substantial coattails from President Reagan, winning back most of the 26 seats that were lost in 1982 and reestablishing that so-called ideological working majority. But in the Senate, it's pretty much a wash. They think that Republican Helms will win in North Carolina, that Percy's a toss-up in Illinois, and Jepsen probably won't survive in Iowa. But for the president, there's now talk of capturing 57 to 61% of the vote. And if Mr. Reagan goes above 61%, he'll set a record exceeding that of Lyndon Johnson over Barry Goldwater 20 years ago today. Steve?
Thank you very much, Mike. Kathleen?
And now the challenger, Walter Mondale. Walter Mondale flew from California to Iowa to Minnesota on the final day of the presidential campaign. Throughout the day, Mondale made a final plea to voters to help him score the biggest upset in American history.
This country belongs to you, and you're going to take it back. Give me your help. Let's make history. Let's build our future. Let's win this election. It's time for new leadership. It's time for America to move on. Thank you very, very much.
Betsy Aaron, who's been covering the Mondale campaign for us, is joining us now live from Minneapolis this morning. Betsy, if Walter Mondale loses this campaign, as all polls indicate that's a very good possibility this morning, how does he want his campaign to look in the history books?
Kathleen, I think the most important thing to Walter Mondale is that he raised some issues. He wants to make sure that he moved this country in the direction that he feels is important. The two areas that most interest him, arms control, social legislation. He got President Reagan to sit down with Andre Gromyko, and on the social areas, he got the president to promise that he would not touch Social Security, and that's what a large segment of this population was worried about. So he has accomplished something.
Steve?
Thank you very much. Betsy Aaron in Minnesota. Geraldine Ferraro completed a 4-state northern swing with a sentimental return to her alma mater in Manhattan. At Marymount College, Ferraro thanked her mother and family for their support, and she told the crowd that she's convinced she and Walter Mondale will win today. Vice President Bush wrapped up his campaign barnstorming across his adopted state of Texas. In Houston, Bush urged voters to support President Reagan, not only by voting for him, but by also electing a Republican Congress to support the president's program.